Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for the Cuckoo's Fiancee, or A Couple of Cuckoos, chapter 119. When we last left our heroes, I started living at the Amaumi house. Antics ensued. It was a little bit unclear if I was intentionally trying to sabotage Nagi's chances with Hiro by helping too much, or if that was just a consequence of her over-eagerness. That still sort of remains to be seen, if Yoshikawa has any plans to explore that at all. But then we sort of turned to Sachi asking Erika, with Nagi listening in, why she suddenly becomes so gung-ho about this studying thing. And it's this really sweet thing of, like, her wanting to experience what makes Nagi happy, what makes him so fired up. Some of the responses to that, especially from Nagi, felt a little pre-M1 in a way this arc still kind of feels weird in its like timeline placement. But it's still fun for the most part. But the little blurb from last week told us that Sachi is going to steal her resolve and do something, which is always a great sign. So let's dive right on into chapter 119. We have this anime like key-vis here, not like one of the really like neater key-vises. It's just Nagi, Hiro, Erika, and Sachi, like, posing for a picture. It's fine enough, I guess. But we open on Hiro, sweeping the, like, raking the leaves. It's very much fall at this point. It's, like, probably into October now, at the shrine. And she's got these, like, note cards. I guess they're, like flashcards or something. And she's studying them, and she looks over, and she sees Sachi, who we know has some kind of scheme in mind from last chapter. And Hiro just looks at her confused, Sachi-san? And there's a little, like, awkward pause as Hiro gets a little bit of a sweat drop, but gives her a sort of, like, trademark, slightly confused smile. Can I help you? 119th foul, it's moments like these. And our picture is of Hiro in, like, her bike outfit, I think that is, at, like, the shore, like, posing with the boats in the distance or something. Worrying about what she should do, Sachi turns to Hiro. What is she planning? And Hiro just sort of, Sachi's not really talking. And Hiro just asks her, don't you have midterm to study for too, Sachi-san? If this is about your assignment, I should have given it to you last week. And so, right, because Hiro is still tutoring Sachi. And Sachi says nothing, and Hiro just sort of is kind of confused and goes on, could it be that it wasn't enough? In that case, I can give you more in the textbook. And Sachi just cuts her off. That's not it. And then she just snaps. I want you to take first place. Alright, that's about as, like, healthy an explanation for the Sachi steals her resolve from last week that we could possibly expect. And Hiro just looks kind of confused. I don't... Oh, and Sachi grabs Hiro's hand and places the fucking brain pills from last week into them. As Hiro, like, looks down confused. These are... and Sachi is just, like, she looks kind of desperate there. Please take these pills. That way you can take first, right? And Hiro just, like, looks at her real kind of embarrassed now and just tells her, I'll have to pass. And as Hiro gets back to her work, Sachi goes on, I don't know what else to do. I absolutely need you to take first place, Hiro-san. And she's just, like, you know, pouring her heart out to Hiro here. And Hiro stops what she's doing and turns to her. Because you don't want me dating Umino-kun? And I love this sort of, like, you know, I like the framing here of, like, we're looking, like, below, we're looking from below at Hiro. It's in one part kind of a fan service shot, you know, the way her chest is sort of highlighted there. But also, it sets up this idea that, like, you know, Sachi has come here and she's sort of begged for Hiro, and Hiro is the one with the power here. You know, she's the one that, like, Sachi is begging, and, like, that puts her in a distinct position of power over Sachi. And Hiro just teases, how cute of you to come and beg for that. And Sachi's sort of taken aback. So do you mean you never meant to get first? You wouldn't get second on purpose, just so you can date my brother, would you? And I don't know. Would she? Oh, that's some cold shit from Hiro, who's just, I don't know, like, I'm trying to think of a moment that sort of sets this up. And the first thing I'm thinking of is the bit in the aftermath of that fucking fake wedding where I and Hiro have the little meeting about how Sachi is the real threat here, which is weird because right after that arc we get into the big Erika arc. But I do love the framing of this. Hiro's like stone-faced, not even the sort of like, you know, slight smile as she mocked Sachi on the previous page, just stone-faced. Children should watch their mouths. He sort of turns away and she has this little, like, a slightly sad smile, feels the wind in her hair, it's all dramatic and shit. Yoshikawa can draw, we know. And Sachi sort of is taken aback at that and then gets a little mad. And then Hiro just tells her, let's put a pin in that. What? There's something I wanted to ask you. And Sachi is just, you know, taken aback at whatever this something is. And we cut to Nagi, who's running in the street, as Hiro texts him, Umino-kun, are you interested in pills that make you smarter? And she sent a picture of herself with the pill, I'm assuming taken by Sachi, just to, like, you know, grind Nagi's gears. This is troll face Hiro here. And he bursts into the shrine. Seigo-san, anything but that! And we see Sachi's there, also dressed in a shrine maiden's robe. And Sachi's just, he actually came. And Hiro acknowledges him, you're here. And Nagi's just confused. Sachi, what's going on here? And Sachi tells him, that was just one of Hiro-san's jokes. As for the reason I'm here, until you finish your tests, I'm going to be staying here. Okay. Okay. So why is she, like, there's gotta be a reason for that. You know? Like, well, actually, because that the assumption is that that's what comes from Hiro's line, there's something I wanted to ask you, which implies this is some scheme of Hiro's, but for what? You know? I mean, you know, that depends in part on Hiro's goal. If she does want to lose to get with Nagi, then, like, I don't know. Like, if she wants to lose, though, she doesn't need Sachi to do that. She can just bomb the test. I don't know. There's definitely a scheme going on here, though. So he thinks her test is going to be staying here. And Nagi just looks at her and sighs. Oh, and then he just grabs Sachi. Sorry, Seiko-san. I'll bring her home right away. And Hiro just tells her, no, don't be. I was the one who invited her. And Sachi breaks free of Nagi. So like I was saying, I'm on Hiro's side now. Huh? What? And that's why, in order for Hiro-san to get first place, I'll be supporting her in the meantime. Like, that's just, I don't know. I'm still not sure why, because it sure seems like Hiro wants Nagi to win here. To, like, fulfill the bet or whatever. And so I'm not quite sure why Hiro was on board with this. I don't know. But Nagi sort of scratches his neck and turns around. Okay. Well, you do you then. I'm better off with you causing trouble for Seiko-san anyway. And without you around, I can focus on studying. In other words, I'll be the one taking first place. Okay, so it seems like Hiro, I saw the next panel, it seems like Hiro is at least playing along with the idea that she's actively trying to win. Though, of course, Sachi called attention to that earlier, and Hiro did not deny it. As Sachi just tells them, that's not going to happen. Huh? And Hiro goes on, you see, Sachi-san here, she's offered to help around the shrine in my place. And with that, I'll be able to focus on studying. And Nagi's just taken aback at that. Ugh. Just look. We see, like, the pile of leaves that was already off to the side. We've already finished cleaning today. Now I can study with all the extra time I've got. And Sachi, like, adds in, me too. And we have this moment of Hiro, like, clings on to Sachi, teasing Nagi even more. And if I win, I might just take Sachi-chan for myself. I've always wanted a little sister. And that is maybe a step too far for Sachi. She's a little uncomfortable with that line, it sure seems. Nagi is as well. And we hear, like, the bird call, and Nagi then tells them, I already know, but I hope you don't plan on going easy on me or just half-assing it. but I know you never had the slightest intent to do that. And Hiro, I do like the little bit of characterization. No matter what, no matter what her crush on Nagi is, she is far too competitive to ever not get in her own way here. They made this bet, and she's following it through to the end. But also, she's gonna whoop his ass if she can. I do like that little. I was struggling a little bit to really work out what was going on with Hiro earlier in the chapter, because it sure seemed like she does want to lose, maybe. But also, no, she may want to lose, but she wants to lose fairly. If she's going to lose because Nagi beats her, not because she went easy on Nagi. Anyway, she just responds to Nagi, of course not. After all, our fate is on the line. And she points at Nagi all dramatically. There's no way that I'd ever lose to you. Calling way back to their earlier encounters back in chapter 4 or 5, which again feels sort of meshes with the idea that we're kind of starting to see the series maybe wrap up. I don't know, it's weird, the pacing in harem manga is always kind of weird in general. It could always be a lot shorter than it necessarily is, and so it doesn't take a lot to end a harem manga. And so maybe we are nearing the end. I don't know. Maybe we're not. Again, the harem manga can also go on forever. That's part of the appeal. Anyway, there's no way that I'd ever lose to you. And we see that I kind of want to go back to where we first had that line and compare this little follow-up panel afterwards, because it seems like maybe it is a direct callback to that earlier chapter. And Nagi is taken aback at her ferocity there. Well, I'm not losing either. And Hiro turns to leave. Let's go, Sachi-san. Yeah. Nagi stands and watches them go. That's right. It's moments like these, our chapter title right there. Moments like these. Seigo-san is the coolest. Whatever Sachi was trying to do, it's backfired. Nagi's even more into Hiro, which again still feels weird with the M1 stuff, but I made my case on that many times over by now. And anyway, Sachi turns back to Nagi, and then we cut back to the house, as I guess Nagi has finished telling all this to Erika, and Erika asks, that's what's happening? Sachi-chan, I'm gonna be so lonely. And I guess Nagi's packed all of her stuff in this box. He says, I'm headed out to take her stuff over. Then I chimes in, but that's perfect timing, isn't it? Now you and Nagi-chan can both focus on studying. Right, because Erika still is making her play for the first place. But Erika kind of pitters there. Yeah, but... And I questions, is something on your mind? Well, why would Hiro-chan offer to take Sachi-chan in? I get the feeling that having her around to help isn't the only reason. And I sort of looks at her and comments, so that's how it is. Hiro-san's thought about this. The Hiro and Sachi team is born. With their cooperation, Nagi's studies face an emergency. So I seem to see what plan Hiro has in store. It still just seems to me that Hiro and my thing here is I get why Hiro, even with her crush on Nagi, is trying so hard to win because her competitiveness overrules everything. I'm not quite sure I get why Sachi is helping, unless she plans to sabotage her in the same way Ai is doing to Nagi. Though the next title, the little blurb there doesn't really imply that. The Hiro and Sachi team is born. With their cooperation, Nagi's studies face an emergency. That's weird. Because it sure seems like, or the only reason I can think of that Sachi would join up with Hiro is to sabotage her. But that's not what that little blurb is saying. I don't know, it's weird. Anyway, the chapter as a whole, it's a lot better than I thought it was going to be after the last chapter's little ending blurb. Because normally when Sachi steals her resolve and makes her move, it's a bad sign for me. Because I don't like Sachi chapters. But this one basically worked for the most part. It wasn't great, it had its problems. But it did the thing. It kind of worked. There were a lot of parts that were really good. I love that first conversation between Sachi and Hiro. I love Hiro's slowly realizing just the power she has in this conversation, and she uses it. I'm not quite sure what exactly she does, but I do think that sort of shifting power dynamic in that earlier scene is what leads to Sachi joining up with Hiro. Why exactly is hold on. Sorry, I was stupid earlier, wasn't I? I said that Hiro and Sachi were in contrasting goals earlier, and that's not true at all. Because I just said that. I made the whole point about the competitiveness that overrules everything. Sachi's helping out so that Hiro can win. Right, I'm stupid. So it does make sense why they're on the same page here. So, I don't know, maybe it is as simple as that. You know, Sachi wants Hiro... No, because Sachi wants Hiro to win. Yes, I don't know why this is confusing me so much. Sachi wants Hiro to win so that Nagi does not win. So they're all on the same page. Hiro wants to win because she always wants to win, and Sachi wants Nagi to lose so that Nagi does not go out with Hiro. Gotcha. It all makes sense. And so maybe it really is like you know, which that realization for me colors the children should watch their mouth scene. That's not Hiro saying, and her refusal to take the pills. It's not Hiro saying, you know, you're too close to the truth, shut the fuck up. It's my entire sense of honor and decency is based around the idea of winning this competition and playing fair. I'm not going to, like, ruin that. And how dare you insinuate otherwise. And so that's why she's able to lure Sachi into the plan, because they do in the end kind of have the same goal, even if their motivations are different. The one thing I'm a little bit I'm a little interested in, though, is the way Ai's statement, Hiro-san's thought about this, is use the cliffhanger, implies to me there's a little bit more there than meets the eye. I don't know. Something to think about going forward. But yeah, all in all, once I finally put the pieces together in my head, this is just a really fun chapter. It's well thought out. There's some great paneling. I really love, the page 9 and 10 stuff with Hiro. I love the callback to "There's no way that I'd ever lose to you." That's all really good. And all in all, this arc, despite my problems with its basic setup, this feels like it only makes sense if it's pre-M1, but it's distinctly post-M1. Beyond that, this arc is working very well. There's a lot of fun stuff here if you can ignore sort of the early, setup hang-ups. There's a lot of fun to be had here, and I'm excited to see where Yoshikawa is taking all this going forward. So with that said, I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you'll enjoy the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, do whatever makes you happy, And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!